intro.
Guess I'm not the lucky type.
You're welcome to the Cruising is Life podcast. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser or just starting out, we have something for everyone. So sit back, relax, and get ready to set sail with us on the Cruising is Life podcast.
All right, and hello everyone. Welcome back to the Cruising is Life podcast. Welcome back for another episode. This ended up kind of being a little bit of a bonus. We, as some of you may know, we went to go see Icon of the Seas, judging by the title of this podcast as well. But we originally did a podcast ahead of time because figured we were going to either be exhausted, which we are, but we kind of thought we were going to be caught up in all the craziness of the trip to Miami and everything, which we kind of got back early this afternoon. I got back around 1 o'clock today. But yeah, I guess the big story is though, I have not been able to stop thinking about it or talking about it. So I was like, all right, we kind of need to do a podcast. I need to just sit and talk about what the heck we just experienced, because that was crazy.
Yeah, that was probably the coolest ship spotting day I've ever been a part of. It was, I don't know, it was just really crazy. It was
really
very
was.
surreal. It still doesn't feel real.
It really was. And the funny thing is, so I had my alarm set for 4 o'clock this morning. So I woke up butt crack of dawn, and I checked the marine traffic just casually to see where the heck she is. And Freedom of the Seas was coming in. Medical emergency wasn't really planned, but Jerry and I had stayed in a hotel right in Biscayne Boulevard last night. But I literally, as everything was going on, Jerry was just starting to waking up. Hello? And I go, bro, Freedom's coming in. And he goes, what? And at that point, at 4:03 in the morning, it went from fast asleep to boom. All right, we're up, ready to go. We're out the door.
Right.
Got ready as fast as I can. And then, as we were getting ready, I texted you. And I'm like, dude, the Freedom's coming in. Look at that. And you're like, oh yeah, I know. I'm already here.
Yeah, so I couldn't sleep last night. So when I set my alarm for 3:30 and I woke up at 2:15, I said, well, I might as well just go get ready and leave. So I left my house about 2:30, I think, 2:30ish. Got there about 3:30, and I think Freedom came in right around 4:15. So
that's crazy.
Yes, I've been up since about 2 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, and now we're here doing a podcast.
Yes, that's right. We just had to.
Did you sleep at all today, during the day, or just go straight through it? I didn't either.
Nope, straight through it.
I got
home.
home.
See these bags under my eyes.
Yeah, for real. I got home and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take a little power nap. No, I ended up just editing.
Yeah, I was planning on doing the same thing, but it didn't happen.
My whole way home, I was just editing videos that video that I just put out. I literally, by the time the car ride ended, we were pulling up to 417 off of the turnpike, and that was right when my video was finishing processing and went live. I'm like, oh, the great timing. We had 5 minutes left in our car ride at that point. It was insane. But yeah, today overall was super, super cool. Just experiencing that. Cause I know I've told you a couple hundred times, looking forward to this event. I was always thinking about how I was, 10, 11-year-old, yay high Brandon that saw the picture of the Oasis of the Seas coming into Fort Lauderdale for the very first time. And I was just looking at a picture, of course, that I just saw on the internet. And, I don't even know if I was aware that it happened on that specific day. I don't really know. Or maybe I did and I just, saw that picture. But seeing that picture, that made me go crazy. I was freaking out, oh my God, it's here. It's sailing. It's Oasis of the Seas. And that ship, of course, kind of got me interested in cruising. And then now kind of getting to do that myself with the Icon was just really surreal feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about when Oasis first came in. I wanted to, I was living down here, so I wanted to go see it.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, it was a Friday, and apparently, I had to go to school on a Friday,
Lame.
so my dad would not take me to see it. Yes, very, very, very lame. But I remember seeing all the videos and all like the excitement as the ship was coming around the corner to dock, and everyone saw the open air amphitheater and the boardwalk and stuff like that. So I always, I always wanted to be a part of something like that, but it never felt like with every new ship that I did see come out, like it didn't have that same feeling.
Mhm.
Maybe it was because it was a different iteration of the Oasis class. It was just another
Right.
ship in the fleet or whatever. But with this one feels like 2009 when Oasis first came in.
It really does. And like I definitely agree. Like, we saw the symphony come into Port Canaveral. It was the first time it was ever in the U.S.
Right.
You were able to see the Wonder. Whenever that first came out, or got to
Mhm.
Fort Lauderdale. I think I missed that one, but like it, seeing each iteration of the Oasis class, it's like it was like a huge deal, like a huge event. Of course, the new world's largest cruise ship, but it was still an Oasis class.
Right.
So like, it's not something that we hadn't seen before. It was just maybe just slightly bigger, slightly better. But like this one, it really felt different. So like, the Star next year, of course, I'm extremely excited for that one already. Just
Mm,
getting to witness that in Port Canaveral, but the Star maybe not have like as hard of a hit as today did, but
right.
like today was just, yeah, with the fire
It was
tugs and
yeah,
everything.
it was historic. This is going to be something that people remember for a long time.
Absolutely. I can only think of, like, maybe not to sound like, big headed or anything like that, but like, you know, I look back at that photo and like I see that photo of Oasis coming into Fort Lauderdale and like the impact it had on me as like a kid. And like now I got to do that for myself. Like that's my photo, that's my video, that type of thing.
Right.
And I can only think, maybe, whether it's today, tomorrow, a couple years in the future, like there's probably some kid that's probably having the same exact reaction,
Right.
that I did back then, but with, the stuff that we did today. Like it's
Yeah.
just so it's very surreal. It's like a hard thing to like comprehend, really.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely crazy. I never thought I'd be. I mean, I guess I did think I'd be doing this, but I just never thought there would be something that would come close to how I felt when Oasis came out. But
Yeah.
this definitely did it. This today was awesome.
Right. Like yeah, with the Oasis, each one was slightly larger than the other, but if you just go by the Oasis class, like that record of having the largest ship in the world being, given to the Oasis class, that record has not been touched since 2009, 2008. Like
Right.
it's and so, what was 2009? So like 15 years ago basically,
That's
the
crazy.
fact that record has not been touched since and that nothing's even come close since then, and now this is bigger. It's hard to even imagine.
Right.
Like I didn't think we'd ever see anything bigger than the Oasis class in the first place, just because of how big
No.
those things are.
Right. Yeah. It was. I thought that was like the biggest they could get, but I
Right.
guess I was wrong. They went a little bit bigger.
It was for a while. They definitely could not send the Oasis class anywhere whenever they first came out.
Right.
But I think as things like started opening up and getting bigger, and the ports are starting to get a little bit longer, things like that, it definitely kind of opened up that opportunity. I think that's why we saw Oasis, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and now we have 3 Icon class coming. So
Right.
it's very crazy to think about. And honestly, like I knew Icon was gonna be big. It was seeing her come around the corner this morning. Oh my god, that thing is big.
It yeah it looks much bigger in person. I don't know how to
It's
explain that, but it just looks bigger in
unbelievable.
person.
Like I doubt we'll ever see like an actual size comparison, like one docked next to the other, at least not anytime soon. But I'd love to see an Oasis class sit right next to it,
Right.
because like just visually, like knowing we see the Wonder almost every weekend, and the Wonder is the biggest of the Oasis class right now.
Hmm.
And the icon, just the feel of it just looked so big.
Right.
Like it looked like it was docked next to the Oasis class. It probably would make the Oasis look small. Like
That's
that's hard
crazy
to
to think
think
about.
about, but like that's how it felt.
Right.
It was ridiculous. And then like, the Meravilia was in port today. The Meravilia is like 170,000 tons. That's a The Meravilia is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And the side by side of them, it was like it looked like a
It was
tugboat.
crazy. Yeah.
It made the Miravilia look like a just a tiny little tugboat.
Right.
Yeah. And like I need to like that song that they were playing when they were coming by the rocks this morning and like by the pier. I need to figure out what that song that is because that song is now ingrained in my mind, probably for the rest of my life.
Oh
That
my
do
god.
do 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 do. I was like, oh my god, like that. When that like beat drops, whenever they like were doing that too, like I couldn't help like tear up a little bit like that, knowing like how big of an event and like how big of a moment that was, like just for me, like I like personally, like I've grown up, and just knowing, everything we talked about earlier, with the Oasis class coming in, things like that, and now I was getting to experience that. Like I couldn't help but like get just like a little bit teary eyed. I was like, this is just like so unbelievable.
Yeah, it was definitely a very cool and unique moment. So I'm glad I'm really glad I got to be a part of it.
Right. And yeah, Nick in the chat says the speakers that they brought out on board were yeah. I I have never seen that kind of sound come from a ship.
Yeah,
Those speakers on that ship were so loud that it drowned out the horn.
I feel bad for the rich people that were trying to sleep in those condos this morning, because they got a very rude awakening at 7 a.m.
Yeah, yeah, that was literally 7 in the morning, and I mean, it was
Blasting
loud
you.
enough.
You couldn't even talk to the person standing next to you.
The ground was shaking. Like
Yeah,
every time like the beat like would hit, or like the bass would hit, like you could feel it. You could feel it in your feet. Like you could feel the ground shaking. And
right.
it was coming from a ship that was like, a few 100 feet away.
Yeah,
Like that's
it
just
was,
how
it
insane the
was wild.
sound was coming from it. Like it was just I think it added to like like to the just like the moment itself too, just like how
Right.
insane that was and just doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
But and then, there were all the drones flying around, all the planes, everything. Airspace, like we didn't fly drones. We don't do that anymore. Rip. But like we counted, or I think Adam said he counted 12 drones that were up at one point in time,
Mm-hmm.
and there were the little like personal planes carrying the banners and all that. So
Yep.
there was like 12 drones and like 5 different little banner planes, and those planes were like circling the ship. Like they weren't doing anything in particular. Like they were just circling.
Right.
It was insane.
Yeah, it was very congested in the airspace around the turning basin today.
Low-key glad I wasn't flying today, but I also know I've seen the
For
pictures
real.
from Jerry. I've seen the pictures from Adam, Dalton,
Yeah.
all of them. Like they're incredible. Like
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, good job, guys.
we met up. Yeah, there was a ton of content creators that we met today, or at least got to meet up with again. I think Dalton, who is Nice Afs, AFTS, not the other word.
Brandon, don't talk like that. We're
Hey,
on a
it's
podcast.
honestly W name for an Instagram handle.
love
Like,
it.
not gonna lie, I
Awesome.
love it. He was really chill. Of course, we've met Adam plenty of
Mhm.
times before here in Canaveral and just other places. I think that was.
He
I think
saved
I had
my
met
life.
Sergio, who's the cruise spotter, like one other time, and it was like for 5 seconds in Fort Lauderdale that one time. That was
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
So they're all really cool. It was cool hanging out with them for a couple minutes here and there, and then of course Jerry, we see him all the time in Canaveral, but they were all flying their drones. Yeah, it was neat, just like hanging out with other creators too. I think it was really
Yeah.
really neat part.
It was just a very nice day. It was a very nice atmosphere. We got to see the new ship. We got to see friends. It was just and the weather held out. I mean, it was a gorgeous morning. It rained a little bit like as like the ships were
Yeah.
coming in, but by the time Icon got here, everything had cleared out. So it was a nice
Yeah.
day, nice atmosphere, nice seeing everyone, our friends again. So it's a very good morning.
Yeah, for sure. And like it wasn't like a normal ship spotting in Miami either. Just like, well,
Right.
obviously it was just, the whole event itself, but like normally we wouldn't be, all right, the ship is past us a little bit, get in the car, we're running down to the end of the causeway and getting shots
Right.
down there. Like, we were all over the place this morning. Like,
Yeah.
South Point Park, then we booked it down to the museum, saw her go down there, saw her spin around, go back up. Then we went back
Yep.
up the causeway, back to South Point Park.
Yeah.
it
It
was
was it was
it was
it
a
was worth it
fun.
though. We got a lot of good shots. So
It really was. It was a really fun time. Like the yeah, I was telling Justin before this, like it's kind of dumb, like watching my own video. I feel like, but I've literally not been able to stop watching the video. Just like that like feeling of just being so surreal of a moment.
right.
Like, all right, yeah, I did that. I don't know. That's like
Yeah.
that's pretty much where my head's been all day long. Is like, holy crap, I can't believe I just did that.
Right. Exactly.
It's pretty cool. Nick said, "Oh, going back to those speakers." Nick says they had all those speakers lined up along the lifeboat deck, and they were probably the biggest speakers they've ever seen. Oh my, like that's.
For real.
I'm not surprised. I guess that makes more sense. They probably would have been blowing the people's eardrums out on the top deck, honestly.
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
that makes a lot more sense actually. But yeah, that was very very crazy. Like how loud
Hmm.
those speakers were.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time. Any moments that stood out to you in particular, just like anything throughout the day?
Um. I mean, that's a good question. I think it's gonna sound so stupid, but I think the like 10 seconds before she came around the corner, for the first time, just like knowing she was like, because there was where we were standing looking out east where the ship was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a big like tree bush thing that like
Right.
blocked where the ship comes from, so you only see it as it's starting to come around the corner. So we knew she was there. We knew she was back there. It was just like it's like any second now she's gonna come around. So it was like that anticipation building, and then you can start to slowly see her creeping out from around the pier, and
Mm-hmm.
that was cool. Like that's when it set in like, wow, we're like actually gonna see this ship now.
Yeah, like just through like the little leaves of that bush, you could see just like that flat bow coming. Like you
Hmm.
could see it passing behind it, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh my god. I know I probably turned around and looked at you maybe like 10 times throughout that whole time of it like approaching and then going by. Like I can't believe this is happening.
yeah,
It was crazy. Yeah, I think that just like the final moments, like knowing it was there, just it was really really cool. It's like, and plus like Jerry and everybody else was like, I think Jerry was the only like one flying the drone near us. I think Adam and like everybody else, they were all like at South Point Park originally. They were just like down a little bit further. But
yeah. They were
like,
closer to here.
yeah. But like, we were able to see like off of Jerry's drone, like he was up and out of there before it was even coming around the corner. So like we were like,
Mhm.
there it is.
Yeah,
It was just like the suspense was killing me. And then
right.
yeah, finally, yeah. They did have like a big party in the turning basin though. I wanted to go, but we ended up not going just because I feel like by that point it was a little too late probably, and that's
There were
like
too many
not a
people there
big
too.
area either.
Yeah, there was too many people. I was very determined to get certain shots of the ship, so
Yeah,
it just wouldn't have been good with 2,000 people all standing there trying to get a picture of it. So that's all right.
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about too. Is like we got good spots, and like I mean you ship spot in Miami all the time, a lot more than I do for sure. But like you know the spots, you know where to go. I mean, yeah, the turning basin would have
Right.
been really cool, but where we were, they weren't hosting that giant event, so
Right.
it was literally just those two spots that we were at throughout the day. It was only content creators, like for the
Hmm.
most part.
Right.
Like that,
Yeah,
I
that
guess
was
that was like the nice part.
yeah.
Cause like yeah, I saw like footage of that turning basin stage like park area that they were hosting that party in. And I mean, there's people all over the place. So like, I mean, yeah,
Right.
it would have been cool, especially like seeing it turn right there, and like with Scarlet Lady sitting right there in the basin too at the terminal. Like,
Hmm.
I think it was probably we got the better spots. I think as far as making the content itself, it was much better where we ended up going.
Yeah, definitely. The thing at the museum was more if you're just like there to see the ship and you want to like enjoy the like festivities or whatever.
Hmm.
But you could tell who was there to film it and who was there to just see it. I
Hmm.
mean, it was pretty clear, like where everyone
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, and it's funny because like you could kind of tell like the levels of like knowledge and like things like that with people that were there too. Like we had some people that were like, "Oh, do you know what time the icon's coming in?" Because like they were just casual people. Like they were there to see
Mhm.
it. But then you have other people that like there's like that one guy that came up to us. What's the freedom doing here? Like,
Right, yeah. He's like, it's usually not here on a Wednesday.
yeah, it's
I'm like,
not.
I'm surprised you even know that.
Yeah, my dad actually was like, "Oh, I have somebody like one of my coworkers is on the ship right now." I go, "Oh, we'll send them this picture because I see it right now." They probably didn't even
Yeah.
know. It was in and
That's
out of there
funny.
so early this morning. They probably had no idea they were even in Miami.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was really cool though. Like you could kind of tell like all right, yeah, like clearly everybody was there to see the icon, but the one random guy, what's the freedom doing here? And it's like,
Right.
yeah,
It
I
was
mean,
just
he knows that the freedom's not supposed to be here, so.
right.
But that
Yeah,
was
that was cool.
and we had actually the funniest was there was the one guy when we were down by the museum, the one guy like walked up to us and goes, "What's going on here?"
Yeah.
I
He's
was
like,
like,
"Is this ship new?" And
I
we're
was
like,
I looked at him, I
"Yeah."
was like, "Yeah, it's the world's largest cruise ship. It's here for the very first time." He goes, "Oh."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, like I just happened to be here."
Could you imagine just like not knowing anything and just like about what was happening and just like stumble upon like such a I mean I'd say such a historic event, at least for the cruise industry. It's
Right.
historic.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, that was like the funniest thing. Like he's like, "Oh, that's really cool," and then like walked over and started talking to his buddy, and I like looked at you. I go, "Could you imagine just
I,
stumbling upon this?"
yeah, like, and they must like they were probably sitting there for a while because like they were just like chilling, and then they're like they're sitting there whatever, and all of a sudden this like big cruise ship comes by and they're just like, and then they like see all these people showing up like taking pictures and stuff. They're
Yeah,
probably like what the heck is going on here?
right. Like Icon it's gonna always draw a crowd.
Oh yeah, of
But like
course.
today, 12 drones flying around and planes
Most I've ever
everywhere,
seen.
like something's happening.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it was what a day.
What a
What a
day.
morning it was.
What a day it was.
I feel like I'm gonna fall asleep sitting here.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know. Yeah,
sorry.
you were up since 2 o'clock. I was up since 4, and it's now 6. So we've been up
Sorry.
over 14 hours, almost 15 hours for you. We're a little tired, but at the same time, like just like the rush of everything today, like it's tough, like to even you try to take a nap.
Right.
Like I tried, and like 5 minutes later, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna start editing videos 'cause I ain't falling asleep
Yeah.
anytime soon. I drank a coffee, and here I am.
Right. Exactly.
But it was a fun day. I think yeah, I think for me yeah, like that moment of anticipation, and then just as it was going by, everything like that, and like as we got in the car and everything, I was already starting to upload like shorts and things like that to YouTube and just like Instagram and
Mhm.
all that, trying to like beat everybody out there. But
Right.
it was fun like seeing like the other creators doing the exact same thing. There was one point where like Jerry disappeared for like 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden he comes back.
Yeah.
He's got like a reel uploaded, and then all of a sudden,
Classic.
and like we're all checking our phones. We're like, "Oh, nice apps just posted a reel." We're like, "How'd you do that fast?"
Right. Like we didn't even see you like even on your phone.
Yeah, like he wasn't even on his phone. Right? Like we're all BSing around with like Adam and him, and I'm like sitting at my phone like typing away, like putting my posts and videos out there, and I was like, bro, where'd you come from with that?
Right. It's so
it, was,
funny.
it was a good time. Yeah, Yeah, I think it'll be a very very historic moment to just like keep looking back on over the next
Yeah.
couple years. And honestly, like uh, there's no way they're I say there's no way they're building something bigger than Icon, but we said that in 2009 with Oasis, and here we are today.
Exactly.
I doubt we'll ever see anything touch the Icon anytime soon. Still, nothing still comes close to the Oasis class.
Right.
Is the crazy part.
Yeah, that's still wild.
Yeah, again, I can almost guarantee the Icon would make it look small, like the Oasis class looks small. Like
Right.
the back of it, I think is where like some of that extra tonnage
Hmm.
comes in too, and of course just being a little bit taller and all that.
Right.
But like, yeah, it's because with the Oasis class, they kind of like the Aqua Theater suites, they kind of narrow out and they kind of pinch at the ends. In the Aqua Theater suite, they kind of come down at a slant, whereas this one, it's like blocks, like very
Yeah.
wide sections of the ship.
Yeah, they've got like 4 or 5 balconies across on each
Hmm.
side, whereas the Oasis class is just like those suites.
Right, and they kind of just narrow out in the corners like that. Yeah, you got
Right.
like 4 rooms across on each side, and then the boardwalk or the I guess surf side for this one is the same like width I would assume as like the boardwalk area on an Oasis
Hmm.
class. Like
Right.
it.
And and the superstructure in the back slants outward
Hmm.
versus the Oasis class that slants inwards. So I
Hmm.
think that, makes it look bigger too, like from the back.
Right, right. Like as it goes up, like I know like the newer ones like Utopia, Wonder, Symphony, like they're kind of more vertical towards the back, but they still
Hmm.
have that little slant as like it kind of curves inwards as you like go up.
Right.
Whereas this one, yeah, as you start from Surfside, it stays straight and then it curves outward more, so like it gets
Mhm.
further out or like longer. So
Right.
that's like definitely where like some of the extra tonnage comes in, because the funny thing is like dimensionally the Icon is very similar in size to the Oasis class. Like I
Hmm.
think the
Yeah, they're
length
pretty
of
close.
like Wonder is maybe off by maybe about 5 feet. It might be about 5 feet longer than Wonder, and I think the width is about the same.
Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's incredible to think about.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited to see that. Of course you're sailing on Icon, aren't you?
Yes, right before Star or something like that. Like right around when we go on Star.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be really cool. I'm on the fourth ever sailing of Icon, and which is in February. I think it's towards the end of February, but I like even seeing it today just added to the excitement and just made it like 10
Mhm.
times more exciting just seeing it. And I was just
Right.
like, "Oh my God." Like
Yeah. It
not
makes it
only
feel
just like
real.
seeing the ship you're about to go on is like exciting a feeling like when you see it in person,
Hmm.
but then like knowing like I guess the magnitude of the ship itself, being what today meant for everything,
Right.
and then on top of that it's like, oh my God, I am like not only am I like experiencing this, but I'm about to go on that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a cool moment.
Yeah, it'll be really fun. I'm excited for that. The Aquadome, I was very caught off guard by that. I think that's what makes it look so big in the front too,
Hmm. Oh my God, that thing is huge.
because it starts at the bridge, which I'm assuming the bridge is maybe like deck 14, 15 or so,
Probably.
but like that dome it is like 6 stories, like 6 decks tall.
Yeah, that
Like I
thing is
think it
massive.
stops at deck 20. Like that thing is huge. And it
Hmm.
goes yeah all the way up. Like that's a whole like lookout lounge, like that like encloses the
Right.
theater too. So
Right.
it's insane. It's insane to
Yeah,
think about.
this ship is incredible. So it was really really cool to see her today. Glad she's over here now, and she's gonna start doing a couple test cruises, the next few weeks, and then she said sailing her maiden voyage. And then she'll just be a normal ship part of Royal Caribbean. and she'll start doing her weekly Caribbean runs,
Yeah.
and then we get to look forward to Star.
Yep. Yeah. Now that Icon's here, I guess we got to start looking for Utopia and
Right.
Star.
That's
No,
right.
it's a little too
Exactly.
soon to be looking forward to that, but I mean, Utopia's coming right around the corner. I've already got the day off of work, at least for the first sale we have. I don't know, maybe if it's going to come in a
Mhm.
day or two early. I don't know, but
Right.
um, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that one as well because again, I'm booked on Icon, but I'm also booked on Utopia as well, and so are you. So
Right.
that's another big one to look forward to. Again, it's like you mentioned earlier, each iteration of the Oasis class is, it's a big deal, but it just doesn't hit quite the same as the Oasis, back in 2009.
Mhm.
But I think I'm very excited to see the Utopia too because it'll be a really cool feeling. You know, I
Yeah. Definitely.
yeah, Symphony's really the only one out of the Oasis class that I got to experience that like type of thing when it came into Port Canaveral that one day that we went. But yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
For
next
sure.
two are gonna be easy too.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're not gonna have to get hotels and all that type of stuff. It'll be
Right.
right
It'll
here.
be nice and easy.
Yeah. See, having Star in Port Canaveral is gonna be unreal. Like
Hmm.
I can only just like imagine how that's gonna fit into like the skyline of Port Canaveral or anything. Because like there honestly like when you go into Port Canaveral and the Wonder is there, or just like any Oasis class is there, like it stands out. Like you go over that big long bridge that goes really high up, it stands out. You can clearly see. You're like, that's an Oasis class. Like
Right.
it
They've
just,
got a very unique silhouette.
it's got a very unique silhouette and just how like there's your Cocoa Beach is just very flat. There's not very many
Mhm.
tall buildings. So then,
Right.
as soon as you go over that bridge, you're like, oh my god, that thing's huge.
Yeah.
So and then now you're gonna have the Star, which is gonna end up being pretty much the same, or just a little bit bigger, really. It's gonna
Mhm.
be it's gonna be a fun time for Canaveral here in the next year having both of those. Um,
Right.
yeah, Star or Icon's gonna be Icon's gonna be very very exciting to be, and I guess as it starts actually taking on passengers, yeah, like you said, it's gonna have a couple test cruises over the next couple weeks just to kind of stress test it a little bit.
Hmm.
Although it's not going to be full sailing things like that, but it'll be really cool just to see that some of the content that comes out of it because like the
Yeah.
crew members, there's been crew that are uploading stuff about the ship and all of that, and then there's just it's gonna be so different actually stepping on it like physically, but seeing some of the stuff that like it just looks incredible. Like
Hmm.
the promenade on that ship looks insane.
Yeah. It does look cool.
Like it looks just as wide, maybe as big as the Oasis class, but
Mm.
there's a second level to it.
Right.
That I think that's what's gonna make the difference is like they've got all like the shopping and everything like that on the first floor, and it's all like bars and lounges up top. Like that's
Right.
that's insane.
That's a cool design feature.
Yeah, I like it. I'm very much looking forward to that. And actually, when it came in today, um, I think when it was going back up the channel, when I was able to zoom in, I could like clearly see like through that glass panel, on the side of the ship, I could clearly see that pearl that was in there.
Nice.
Oh, it was so cool seeing that. I was like, I'm not there like clearly able to see it, but like I zoomed my camera in as it went by. I'm
Mm.
like, holy crap, I can see that inside. Like I can see inside the ship.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think that's one thing I'm excited about with the Icon class is the one of my biggest gripes with the Oasis class. And again, Oasis class right now is my favorite class of ship, and I
Hmm.
won't change officially until I go on Icon because I need to actually experience it first before I can truly say that Icon is going to be my favorite class of ship. But
Right.
the one thing I do dislike about the Oasis class is that there's not much of a connection with the ocean. You know,
Hmm.
the promenade on the inside it's very closed off. There's no windows looking out really. There's not really many outdoor areas down low like there is, like on the Freedom class. Like that's one of my favorite
Hmm.
things about the Freedom class is like, you know,
Right.
you've got plenty of access to the outdoors on those lower decks, whereas you don't get that on the Oasis class. Like you
Yeah.
can get it, but it's like the outdoor jogging track, and it's just like completely filled with lifeboats. So like there's no
Right.
easy access to like clearly view outside from the lower levels. Like you have to go up to the top of the ship
Hmm.
to actually see out there. So I'm looking forward to that. Just it looks like, at least there's that like glass panel area, and then like on the opposite side, it's the same thing, but it looks open. Or like there's like an open area of that deck instead of being
Yeah.
like the flat glass like on the other side where the pearl is. I'm assuming because like the cafe is there on that one side, and then
Okay.
like on the other side there's probably just nothing, so they
Hmm.
kind of left it open. So I'm looking forward to that because I can actually like see outside, and even from like both sides, if I'm just like looking out the window, like it's some like natural light on the promenade.
Right.
It'll be nice. I think it's a
Yeah.
good change. It's something I'm looking forward to for sure.
Right. Yeah. That's gonna be very nice to have that natural light.
Yeah. um I guess like out of what you saw on the icon today, like what's one thing that stood out to you, for the most, or like is there anything like in particular like holy crap, or
Honestly, I think that water park looks insane.
it does. Oh my god. It's like there's a lot of slides in there. There's like six. There's six water
Hmm.
slides, but like they're big water slides.
Yeah, like they got that one green one that like rides up the wall, but it's like off the side of the ship.
Yeah.
It looks crazy.
It's like over the side, but then as it's over the side, it goes up a wall. It's
Right.
it's insane. And like as again, the videos today do not do it justice of how big this thing is.
Yeah.
Like I know I say that like with the Oasis class and things like that, like it's always something that you just have to see it in person. But like holy crap, like seeing that thing in person it was even looking at my own video, I was like, it just doesn't look nearly as big in this video as it really actually is in person.
Right.
It's hard
Yeah,
it's hard to wrap my head around how big that thing was.
yeah. It, it's massive. It is a
Yeah.
huge cruise ship.
Yeah. And the fact that that big water park in the back takes up pretty much from the funnel all the way to the back where the flow rider is
Right.
on basically that like back quarter of the ship. Like that's how big it is. Like that's got to be, I don't know, like a few 100 feet in length, maybe like 6, 7. I don't know. I have no sense of length, but
I don't know if it's that
it's
long,
several
but
it's
it's a
several
very big
hundred
one.
feet long worth of water park, and it's also just like extremely wide. Like it takes up half of it. Like it actually goes to both sides too. Like I noticed that
Hmm.
little like capsule at the top in the middle. It like there's slides on that side that kind of like dive down and across the
Right.
surf side and then into the other end.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like there is a free fall water slide that I noticed that starts on that side and it turns clear as you go over surf side.
Right. And
Oh,
then yeah.
that's gonna be so cool. I cannot. That's like one thing I'm looking forward to is like, yeah, I'm 27. I shouldn't be having I shouldn't be like, ooh, water slides.
Oh,
But
water
like
slides are cool. Water
they
slides
are
are cool.
those things are so cool looking, and like I mean, you gotta just kind of like you gotta grow older, not up, kind of have that
Right.
mentality. Like I'm the most, this. I am very immature. Like
Same.
I mean, like got to be serious. Like when you got to be serious, but like overall, like I'm just trying to have a good time. I'm trying to live life, do fun stuff. So like, you know, I see this giant water park, and I'm like, that's awesome. I need to do that. I need to get on
Of
there.
course.
So that's one thing I'm definitely gonna be doing on there.
Yeah.
And then
It's gonna be a fun ship. So if you're lucky enough to be going on it in the next couple months or whatever it
yeah,
is,
or star.
enjoy it. It's gonna be that's gonna be one that's I don't even blah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
their
It's an incredible
marketing, like their marketing for it at one point was like they're trying to compete like with the theme parks, and at first I was like, you're gonna market a cruise ship against a theme park, and then now seeing that in
right.
person, I'm like, oh,
It it,
that's
it
why.
does.
That's why. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know the
It's gonna be a
carousel's
very
not a
unique.
new. the carousel's not like a new concept or anything like that. Like it's been on the Oasis class for years, but like it
Mhm.
looks like they revamped that. It looks like there's a lower level to Surfside too. Have you
Okay.
noticed that?
I think I did. I think I
Like
did.
I don't know if it's like a kids area below it or like the kids like clubs or anything like that below it, but there's like a staircase in the middle of Surfside now instead of like just the
Mhm.
one flat level or deck in the
Right.
Oasis class. Like it, you go down and there's like the bottom level too, and like
Yeah.
there's multiple bars, restaurants, and everything along there too.
It's a crazy ship. It is
There's
unbelievable.
there's a lot. Um, so yeah, this podcast really is just us kind of rambling and just talking about like everything today. Like today was just like such a surreal experience, really, like
Hmm.
for me, and for you, and all that. So it was really cool. I can't stop thinking or talking about the ship. So I was like, yeah, let's do a little. It's probably going to be a quick podcast, but let's do a
Yeah.
podcast.
That's okay. We got the main talking points out of the way, so
Right, exactly. Like
it was a
all,
good talk.
yeah, all our intention was just to talk about the icon, and that's all we've done.
Right.
So we actually stayed on topic for once.
For once. Don't get used to it.
Don't
Just
get
kidding.
yeah, don't get used to it because we like to get sidetracked here.
That's
But
right.
yeah, today was very fun. Yeah, it'll be a little bit shorter of a podcast. We'll probably start wrapping it up here in probably a couple of minutes, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, overall, Icon is just an absolute beauty. Cannot wait to sail on her. Anybody that is sailing on her soon or just at all, you're in for one incredible vacation. It
Yeah.
just
Get ready.
anything and everything about that ship just so far looks incredible. I can't wait to experience it for myself.
Yeah. It's gonna be a game changer, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good,
I think
good thing for the industry.
this is gonna have the same effect on the industry that the Oasis had that long ago.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, especially now that we're seeing the Icon at 250,000 tons, like we're gonna start seeing more 200,000 ton ships in the industry now, and I'm hoping
Hmm.
maybe Carnival kind of dabbles into that market a little bit with a 200,000 tons, but yeah, it's the modern game changer now. Like this really seems like if they took Project Genesis, the original, project name for the Oasis class, if they took that and started from scratch today, we would end up with the Icon. Like
Oh yeah.
it's not a Oasis Plus, but it's an Oasis 2.0 is like what I like to think of it as right now.
Right. Definitely.
Like it combines the Aqua Theater, everything about the Aqua Theater. They combined it with what was good about the what was good about 270 on the Quantum class. Like they incorporated a lot about the Quantum class too. Like
Hmm.
they really learned from what they did really well with both of those two classes and really just did so, like, yeah, they just perfected it with this one.
Right.
But
Definitely.
but yeah, with that though, yeah, again, we'll wrap it up. We'll go ahead and stop the podcast here. Icon's incredible. Can't wait to sail on her soon. Do you have anything else to say before we wrap it up?
I don't know. I have no words.
I
Today was
really
just
have been
a great
speechless
day.
just all day. Like I feel like we've just been like going back and forth, just like saying the same thing over with maybe like
Right.
the last like hour. It's still hard to put into words
Yeah.
that
Give me a few
ship.
days. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. But yeah, this is just a little bonus podcast. I think next week we are planning on doing a private island like comparison and just like talk about the cruise line private islands. I put out a video recently of Great Stirrup Key might be getting a dock. We've got Celebration Key coming very soon. Cannot wait to get
Hmm.
there. Coco
Yep.
Cay, of course, is kind of leading the way with all of this. Coco Cay is incredible, of course, and Ocean Key
Yep.
as well. So I'm very much looking forward to next week's podcast. It'll be, of course, this normal time that we did the podcast tonight. But with that, I hope you guys all enjoyed the short podcast, just rambling on about our experience today going to see the Icon of the Seas. I hope everybody enjoyed. Thank you for listening and watching, and have a good night.
Good night.